Hi, I'm Dr. Alexis Reed. I'm a chemical engineer, toxicologist, and a naturopathic doctor. Today I want to talk to you about why I believe steroids are a band-aid solution for your child's eczema. Now hear me out. Why do I think that they're a band-aid? They will, knock down inflammation and reduce symptoms momentarily, but it's not getting to the bottom of what's going on with your child's eczema. And that's not said in a shame or blame way at all. I get how hard it is when you have a child with eczema. My son, Harvey, was born in 2019 with what many doctors dubbed as the worst eczema they'd ever seen. So this was quite the blow, having worked with eczema and eczema patients for 6 years at this point in time. We had to use Betaderm, which is the strongest of the steroids that's not even advised to use on the face. We had to use that with Harvey because he kept getting reinfected while we were trying to get to the root of what was going on. So many people have heard about potential food connections with eczema and different triggers. I'll take one step back first. So I often get asked, well, isn't eczema genetic? And yes, eczema does have a genetic predisposition, but the way genes work is, in general, is just because you have X gene doesn't mean you're going to present that condition. So you may be more susceptible, but it doesn't mean it's going to happen for sure. There's also something called epigenetics. Epigenetics is what essentially turns that gene on or off. And it's not even as clear cut as it turns it on and off like a light switch. It's either on or off. It's more like a dimmer. So it's how much that gene is being expressed. So your eczema gene can be being expressed a little bit or a lot. And a lot of what dictates and directs epigenetics is environmental influences. So what we're talking about there is triggers. So things like food, environment, topical products. Which brings me to the culmination of my work in eczema. So over the last 8 years in practice, I've worked with thousands of patients with eczema and then had the worst case study of my life with my son, the most challenging. So what I have done is I've pulled together a program with all of the knowledge that I've gathered over the last 8 years in my deep dive into eczema. So I'm just going to give you a quick, brief overview of what it covers. So it's called the SKIN method, S-K-I-N. S is for soothing the skin and protecting the barrier. So ways to soothe the skin without the use of steroids. Obviously, sometimes you have to use steroids, but ways to move past that and soothe the skin. K is for knowledge of triggers. We do a deep dive in this area, trying to figure out triggers can be food, environmental, products, laundry detergent, all those sorts of things. What's after K? I is inflammation and immunity. So inflammation, skin with eczema is very inflamed, red. There's that process going on at the skin surface, but there's also usually inflammation in other areas of the body, primarily the gut. And then immunity, especially in children, our immune system is never fully complete, as we're learning with more and more research into the microbiome, but the majority of your immune system is set by the age of 3, but there's still a lot of wiggle room until the age of 7. So trying to make changes to that immune system to get it to downregulate eczema, especially under the age of 7, we have a lot of room to make corrections there. And then N stands for nutrients. So a lot of times when I talk about foods and triggers, people start panicking because they just picture all the foods that is coming out of their diet, and I get it. At one point in time, I was only eating 5 foods for 16 weeks with Harvey to try to get everything under control and figure out his triggers. But that is very extreme. I've never seen anyone else have to go to those lengths, so don't panic. But when we're talking about nutrients, for eczema, it's also it's not only what you're taking out, it's what you're putting in. So there's multiple nutrients that are very beneficial for the integrity of the skin, reducing inflammation in the skin, and just helping get that integrity back and to reduce eczema. So yeah, that's a little snapshot of the deep dive that we do into those 4 topics in my eczema program. Thanks very much for listening to this video. If you have any further questions or comments, concerns, please feel free to send me a message on Instagram.